Hey everybody, here I am again. Yay! I wanted to continue our march in service again by video because that's the only way I can think to do this and have you all watch it and give me evidence that you have done that. So first of all, thank you all for tuning in and for all the work that you do each and every day for our house and for your families. This is a devastating time for all of us. This is something we've never had to face before. So we're all in this together and we'll get through it together, and we will hope that we can get through it without even meeting this COVID-19 virus. Little bit of reiteration. So I'm doing memos and sending them to the houses. Those are extremely important. You've got to read them. You've got to initial them. If you have someone who's fairly new with you and they don't know about the memos, make sure to point them out, please. They have to read and initial them. It's the only way that I can make sure that you're all up to date. There are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of information coming out on the internet, on the social media, on news, and it's very scary. So the least amount that you watch is probably the best way for you to get through this craziness. What we all need to know is what we discussed the last time, which is our best defense against COVID-19 and keeping it out of our house and away from our residents and away from you and your families. And that still is simply through hygiene, washing your hands repeatedly, soap and water as warm as you can handle the water. That's important. Monitoring ourselves for any shortness of breath, any fever. That's why you all should be taking your temperatures at home before you come to work. As of today, those infrared thermometers have gone out to the houses with written instructions on how to use them. I'd really like you to use those primarily for your coworkers. So when your relief arrives, you should take their temperature and vice versa. At every shift change, there should be someone taking the temperature of the folks coming in. That doesn't mean that you can't take it at home. I'd be happy for you to take it at home, and actually happy for you to keep up on top of that, so that if indeed at 6 o'clock in the morning you realize that you have a temperature and you're not due in until 10 that night, it would be great if you could give Lisa the heads up so that she can find someone to take your shift. And as you know, that's not always easy. So the longer we give her for time to make those arrangements, the better it will be for all of us. So the memos are very important. Watching these videos are very important, and we are going to ask you to do something a little bit different this time. If you would, after you've watched this video, text Jacob at 802-558-9397. All you have to do is tell him who you are and that you have watched this part 2 YouTube video in service. That would be very helpful. Also, to continue to sign those in-service attendance sheets that are at all houses right now. So if you have any questions with that, just ask your manager or give me a call and I'll give you the right direction, or hope to. Thanks again for watching and for all that you're doing at the care home. Some of you have been just amazing, stepping up, and frankly, most all of you have just been really, really great, and so I'm very proud of you all for that. The state conference call that I attended last Friday was, again, it was almost 3 hours long. It was intended to inform all of us and I think to get the state a little bit more information about where we are all sitting too. There is personal protective equipment, PPEs, and we've received a lot of that at the office. So if we ever need it, heaven forbid, but if we do, we will have a short supply at least. The big message is for us to conserve on our PPEs, anything, masks to gloves. Of course, you can't you can't compromise the glove situation. You've got to use them. That's extremely important, both when handling food and when attending to residents' care. And I think you all know that. Everybody has a book in your house. It's, I think, a funny bluish color, and it's called Donning Your PPE, which is some diagrams of how to put gowns on and how to put gloves on, how to wash your hands, how to do all of those things. Just pull that out when you have a moment so you know where the book is. And if the time comes for us to use any of that extra equipment, we'll be sure to get it into the houses with some detailed instructions on when and how to use it. I think the most notable thing that I did share on this last memo was that 80% of the people who do become symptomatic or contract the COVID-19 virus are going to only have a mild case. They're going to recover fully. It won't be a big deal. But to the other 20%, those are the folks that we're taking care of. Those are the folks that we're overseeing their care and that their families are trusting us with. So let's be really diligent and make sure that we're following all of our protocols. Take your temperature. The residents' temperatures are now being taken every morning, or should be, with the morning med pass. And those temps are being documented on the back of the medication administration record, the MAR. You may have noticed that nurses are not rounding in person. That's because last week we asked them to round by telephone. They're doing notes. They're going to be COVID notes, meaning that they're going to be all consolidated. And so we aren't going to put them into the individual's ADLs unless there's something specific about an individual resident. So things are going to look a little bit different. That's what that COVID-19 binder is. That should be at every house. Some of the managers are putting them together, and others are getting ready to put them together. So we're trying to figure that out as we go, but valuable information should reside there because this is an exceptional time. So we've talked about your temperatures. The infrared thermometers are in the houses, and those are the ones that I want you to use to take care of taking your own temperatures. I might have said that already, so if I did, I do apologize. Wash your hands, soap and water, soap and water, soap and water, soap and water, water as warm as you can. Make sure that you're cleaning all of the surfaces. You should be spraying door handles and handrails, the handicap rails in the bathrooms. All of that should be done every shift. And or if you've got someone that you know has touched them, you probably should just simply wipe them down every time they're used. That would be best practice. No visitors means no visitors. It really means no visitors, not family, not friends, not animals. We cannot risk having anyone in the house that is not a caregiver. So please be mindful of that. We did cut back, as you knew from the last video, on the hospice even coming in. So we're getting just a once every week or 2 weeks, maybe even, a visit from the nurses for those hospice folks. And if you don't know who they are and you feel like you need to know, just ask a manager. They can help you with that. The city of Rutland put out a memo asking folks to be sure that they're not flushing anything other than human waste and toilet paper. I think that for the most part, we're all pretty good about using those flushable wipes, but throwing them into the trash. That is definitely something that we should be doing right now. So if you're not, let's get into that new habit. That would be helpful for the infrastructure of Rutland City. You all have in your houses now iPads and Wi-Fi so that we can communicate with our residents' family members. Not everyone is going to want to do that, but there are a few folks who I think the managers are going to look to pulling a schedule of sorts together. Do not just use those without asking someone. We really want to make sure that the calls are appropriate. They don't need to be upsetting for the family members, and they certainly don't need to be upsetting for the individual residents themselves. So they should be happy moments that we're sharing with their loved ones who aren't able to see them right now. So thank you for that. And I've got some great ideas. So if you want some ideas or want permission to make a little video or to have a FaceTime call or a Zoom call, and I think there's another app that Jake's installed, maybe House Party. Yeah, these are all foreign things to me. But these are good ways for us to at least offer an opportunity for families to see the people that they love and miss so terribly, and there are lots of them. Talked about that. As far as housekeeping, I think that there's been some real slacking, and I hate to point fingers, but for some reason, the floors don't seem to be getting done on the overnight shifts the way they should be. And so I'm going to ask you all to be really diligent with that, because who knows what we're carrying in on our feet. We do walk outside, come inside, we don't know what we're bringing in. That's one of the reasons that those floors should be mopped every single morning at the end of the overnight shift. One of the last things that you guys should be doing is mopping those floors, sweeping and mopping those floors nicely. If you can think of something that might make your job easier, aside from hiring somebody else to come in and do it, let me know. You should have all the equipment that you need, and you have plenty of time on those shifts. So, I think that is pretty much what I wanted to cover with you. I'm not going to bore you with all of these gory details and all of the crazy memos that I get on a daily basis, because I'm sure you're all seeing as much of this COVID-19 information as you can process. It can be overwhelming. So talk to people, talk to me, talk to your coworkers, talk to a family member. This is how you're going to get through this. This is how we're all going to get through this. Personally, I cannot wait for the day that I can go and hug everybody, because I'm a big hugger. And for those of you who know me well, you know that's true. I can't help myself, but it's been very difficult, and but I've been very diligent, and that's frankly one of the reasons that you're not seeing me in the houses right now, because it's very hard for me to do that. But also, just like with the nurses, I think that it's very important for us to minimize our exposure to the residents, and that includes me. Managers have been amazing, exceptional. Tabby and Beth are back this week. They were quarantined themselves last week. So thanks to everybody that really rolled up your sleeves and helped with all of that. And by that I mean Beth Peer primarily, and Lisa, and all of the work that Lane has done to try and pull some of these things together, products and information. And for Jacob too, he's here out of work from New York City because there is no theater or music right now. So I'm grateful that he's able to help me with this technology stuff that I know a little bit about, but really don't want to know too much. Please, I cannot stress enough how important you are to our house, to our residents, to getting beyond this COVID-19 devastation. And it is devastating. I know that your children are now doing school at home, that the governor has announced that there will be no school the rest of this year. It will all be done remotely. And we have to follow our leaders in this situation, most especially. We have to look to them to guide us. And I think that in Vermont, we've always had a bit of, and I'm a native Vermonter, so I can say this, we've always had a bit of a reputation for being ultra conservative. And in that respect, that's probably one of the good things as far as being in the business that we're in, all of us as caregivers in Vermont as opposed to another state. We are very conservative, and they are quite demanding at what they expect from us for our residents. So I'm very proud to be a part of that, and I hope you all are too. Communicate, laugh, find a moment to laugh. If you're not on the Facebook page for our house, send a friend request to Jacob William Patorti. He will accept your request and then invite you to join the Facebook page, which is strictly for our house employees. And of course, it's only for good stuff. So I think that that is really what I wanted to cover on this part of today's video conference. We are not planning to do our April in-service again in person unless something wonderful comes down the pipeline. In that case, we'll be happy to join again at Merchants Hall. So for now, I'm going to ask you to just kind of keep looking for memos. If you feel like you have questions that you don't know the answer to, give me a call. I don't care what time of day it is. I'd prefer you not to call me on the overnight if it's something that can wait, but certainly if it's urgent or you're having a conflict, then give me a call. I will, if I don't have the answer myself, I'll see what I can do to find it. Keep up the good work. Help each other, help our residents. They don't understand what's going on in any way, shape, or form. And the iPads, though they may be a good tool, they also may cause some anxiety. One of our residents who had her first, I guess it was her second call, video conference call, felt like her son was in the house and where did he go and why isn't he here now? That's one thing that you're probably going to be up against. And just remind them that it was a newfangled way of communicating, and that's the telephone, but now we can see each other. It's just very simple and very short is the best way for you to try and explain it to our residents. I think a lot of them will enjoy it, but we'll see. Time will tell. Again, thank you. Thank you. Check with the house managers. They're going to go over those iPads with you. I think that there may be a schedule for the iPads and communicating with certain family members, and I'm fine with that. We have to be mindful of HIPAA always, even with these videos. So if you have questions or concerns, again, call me, call your manager, and let's get things done right so that we don't have to backtrack. Thanks again for everything that you're doing, for coming to work, for loving our residents, for taking care of yourself, taking care of your families. And I can't wait for the day that we can regroup in person, and it's going to be a heck of a party. All right, I'll pick up the tab. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Call me if you need me. Infection prevention, that's what we're practicing. If you need a refresher, everybody has a policies and procedures manual in their homes, and in there is a very short section on infection prevention. So ready it, look at it, familiarize yourself, know where these things are. If you have questions or need some assistance with any of that, again, reach out. Don't just go to your coworkers, go to people that you know can get you answers. And the nurses are always on standby, waiting for your questions since they're not able to round in the houses right now. They would be happy to see that. And we might even talk about using those iPads to help the nurses kind of see the residents if they need to, without actually going to the houses, unless of course it's dire. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I apologize for this ridiculousness on video, on YouTube, but I'm grateful that we have this technology so that we can at least get some words out. Thanks again. Ciao.